Human DNA rocked the galaxy when alien scientist John Walker uncovered humanity's impossible link to the Rizian species, a secret the Rizians would kill to keep buried. John stared in shock at the genomic results flashing on his lab monitor. The human genetic code contained unmistakable markers found only in Rizian DNA, but it was impossible. Humans and Rizians came from different star systems light years apart. They couldn't share a common ancestor. Unless... John's mind raced through the staggering implications. Did the Rizians tamper with human evolution, seed Earth with life? Bile rose in John's throat. If true, it meant everything humanity knew about its origins was a lie perpetrated by the galaxy's most advanced race. John copied the bombshell data with shaking hands, heart pounding. Adrenaline roared in his ears. He had to get this to the Rizian High Council immediately. Humanity deserved the truth about its heritage. But as John turned to leave, he froze. His Rizian lab assistant Xenos stood blocking the door, face contorted in rage. Xenos had seen everything, and now the alien would do anything to stop the truth from getting out. John glanced at the data drive clutched in his palm, the fate of two civilizations resting in his hands. He had to escape the lab, had to find someone to trust, before Xenos silenced him permanently, and the Rizians buried their darkest secret forever. The horrifying truth about humanity's place in the stars. John's heart hammers in his chest as he sprints through the Rizian spaceport, data drive clutched tightly in his fist. His small spacecraft sits in its docking bay, his only hope of escape. Just a few more steps and he'll be aboard, blasting off this cursed planet with the truth that will shatter the galaxy. But as John races up the boarding ramp, a squad of heavily armed Rizian guards surges into view, weapons trained on his head. Leading them is Xenos, face twisted with fury. "That's far enough, human," Xenos snarls. "Hand over the data drive, now!" John freezes at the top of the ramp, knuckles white around the precious drive. Go to hell, humanity deserves to know the truth. "The truth," Xenos scoffs. "The truth would tear our worlds apart, billions would die in the inevitable war. Is that what you want?" "What I want is for humanity to know its true origins, not whatever lies you've been feeding us. Those lies have maintained peace for generations. Give me the drive and come quietly. Don't make this any harder than it has to be." Xenos extends a hand, eyes narrowing. John's jaw clenches. Never. He slams the button to raise the boarding ramp. Xenos roars in frustration and opens fire. Bolts of searing energy rip past John as he throws himself into the cockpit. "Stop him," Xenos bellows. "Destroy that ship!" John's fingers fly across the controls, firing up the engines. The ship lurches and shudders, straining against the docking clamps. A barrage of weapons fire pummels the hull, alarms shrieking. With a desperate yank of the throttle, the ship breaks free, thrusters screaming. It hurtles up out of the docking bay, amidst a storm of blaster bolts, shields crackling. "Blast!" Xenos activates his wristcom. "All warships, intercept that human vessel. It cannot be allowed to reach Earth." Sleek Rizian destroyers peel away from the spaceport, cannons swiveling to lock onto John's ship. Massive bolts of energy lance out, barely missing John's damaged craft. Gritting his teeth, John wrenches the ship into a wild spiral, frantically trying to evade the onslaught. Warning lights flash as his abused engines start to overheat. He can't take much more of this. Glancing at his readouts in dismay, John sees the Rizian ships closing fast. At this rate, he'll be nothing but an expanding ball of gas in moments. He has to do something drastic, or all is lost. Thinking fast, John whips out a portable data storage device and jams in the drive with humanity's origins. Fingers flying, he uploads all the files and then sprints to the escape pod. Rizian torpedoes scream in, warheads glowing with deadly promise. John lunges into the pod, slamming the launch button as the first torpedoes detonate. His ship vanishes in a roaring fireball. In the chaos, the escape pod rockets free, autopilot sending it arrowing towards a small uninhabited planet. As the pod shrinks to a distant speck, Xenos howls in rage and panic. If the humans recover that data, It will mean war on a scale the galaxy has never seen, and it will all be on his head. "Find that pod," Xenos snarls to his subordinates, voice shaking. "Find it if you have to scour every inch of that damned rock. Pray the humans don't find it first." The escape pod smashes into the barren, rocky surface of a nameless moon, kicking up a cloud of dust. Its crumpled form lies still, a black scar on the grey landscape. For days, the only sound is the whistle of the thin winds. A week later, the salvage ship Hermes drops out of warp near the moon. Captain Mike Johnson frowns at his display as he picks up the faint ping of the pod's emergency beacon. He takes the Hermes in, skillfully setting the ship down a short distance from the crash site. Mike and his crew suit up and approach the downed pod, scanners out. They pry open the battered hatch and Mike climbs inside, emerging moments later with a strange device in his hand. Back aboard the Hermes, they access the data. "Holy shit," Mike breathes as he reads the scrolling information. "Holy shit." He whips around to his wide-eyed crew. "Get us back to Earth now. The Defense Council needs to see this immediately." The Hermes screams through hyperspace, racing homeward. As soon as they arrive, Mike rushes the device to the Defense Council's chambers. The council members are grave as they review the contents. "This can't be real," one says in horror. "The Rizians, they made us?" "And then they killed John Walker for discovering the truth," another says grimly. The chamber erupts into shouting. "We have to strike back immediately." "No, we can't rush into a war." "They murdered a human in cold blood. We can't let that stand." The argument rages back and forth until a piercing alarm cuts through the noise. Everyone falls silent as a technician's panicked voice comes over the speakers. "Counselors, we have a situation. A huge Rizian fleet just dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. They're heading straight for Earth." The blood drains from every face. A second later, a deep, growling voice echoes through the chamber. "Humans of Earth, you have stolen data that belongs to the Rizian Empire. Return it at once and submit to our rule, or your planet will be destroyed. You have 1 hour to comply." The transmission cuts out, leaving stunned silence. Mike leaps to his feet. "Counselors, we can't give in to their threats. We have to fight." "Are you insane?" a counselor snaps. "We're hopelessly outmatched." "This isn't about the odds," Mike shoots back. "This is about our right to exist, to know the truth about ourselves. The Rizians want to take that away. I say we don't let them." Shouts of agreement rise from the other council members. As they debate, the situation in space intensifies. Earth's defense fleet moves to intercept the Rizians, even as the alien ships charge their weapons. On the viewscreens, the Rizian armada looms like a wall of steel, bristling with enough firepower to reduce Earth to molten slag. The human ships look puny in comparison, but they fly to meet the invaders regardless, refusing to back down. The two fleets converge, mere seconds from firing range. On Earth, the Defense Council continues to argue, fear and anger warring on every face. The fate of humanity hangs by a thread. Just as the fleets are about to clash, a councillor slams his fist on the table. "Enough, we have no choice. We must share the truth with our people. Every human deserves to know." "I agree," Mike says firmly. "It's time." The council votes hastily. The decision is made. With trembling hands, a technician enters a command. Across the planet, the data John Walker died for spreads to every screen and speaker. In an instant, all of humanity learns of the Rizians' genetic meddling and the unforgivable murder of a human scientist. A stunned, horrified silence blankets the globe, and then changes to burning, righteous fury. If the Rizians believe they can toy with human lives and destroy those who defy them, they are about to learn how wrong they are. Humanity's resolve hardens into diamond. Every man, woman, and child understands what is at stake. This will be a battle for the survival of the species, for the right to live free of Rizian control and lies. As one, the human race prepares for war, every resource bent to the defense of their world. In the Defense Council's chamber, the final order is given. All ships engage the enemy for Earth. On the view screens, the human fleet surges forward, weapons blazing as the Rizian ships open fire. The battle is joined, the fate of two civilizations in the balance. Space ignites with the furious exchange of weapons fire as human and Rizian ships clash above Earth's orbit. Explosions rip through the void, ships disintegrating into clouds of molten debris. Earth's fleet fights valiantly, their hull plating buckling under the onslaught of superior Rizian firepower. On the bridge of the Rizian flagship, Xenos watches the carnage unfold with growing unease. He turns to the Rizian admiral, a severe figure with cold eyes. "Admiral, we must reconsider this course of action," Xenos urges. "The humans are putting up far greater resistance than anticipated. Continuing this assault will only lead to a drawn-out, ruinous conflict for both sides." The admiral regards Xenos with disdain. "You underestimate our strength and overestimate theirs. Earth's primitive defenses are already crumbling. Victory will soon be ours." As if to punctuate his point, a human frigate erupts into a ball of flame under concentrated Rizian fire. Suddenly, alarms blare through the Rizian ship. Sensors light up with new contacts dropping out of hyperspace, a second human fleet, emerging from the void behind the Rizian armada. The admiral leaps to his feet in shock. "What is this? Where did they come from?" Xenos stares at the readings in disbelief. The new ships are more advanced than anything Earth should possess, their designs strangely familiar. With sudden clarity it hits him, the technology. It's based on Rizian designs, reverse-engineered from the very genetic tampering that led to this bloody confrontation. The second human fleet opens fire, catching the Rizians in a devastating crossfire. The Rizian ships reel under the unexpected onslaught, their formation fracturing as they scramble to reorient. On Earth, the Defense Council watches the turn of events with a mix of relief and grim satisfaction. "The colonies came through," Mike breathes. "I wasn't sure if the summons would reach them in time." In space, the tide of battle shifts. Rizian ships burn and break apart under the withering barrage from the two human fleets. Xenos watches the Rizian line buckle with growing despair. "They planned this," Xenos realizes aloud. "We've underestimated them catastrophically." The admiral snarls orders, trying desperately to rally his beleaguered ships. But Xenos can see the truth etched in the burning wrecks and fading formation. The Rizians, in their arrogance and disregard for human tenacity, have engineered their own defeat, and now both races will pay the price in blood. Gripped by sudden resolve, Xenos slips away from the bridge amidst the chaos. He hurries through the ship's corridors to the hangar bay and commandeers a small shuttle. As he blasts away from the flagship, Xenos' mind races. He has to find a way to stop this, to force a ceasefire before both sides are annihilated. There has to be a path to peace, even if he has to forge it himself. Xenos is halfway to the human fleet when a new horror unfolds. A Rizian dreadnought, its hull pitted and scorched, breaks through the weakened Earth defenses. It drives relentlessly towards the planet, a massive cannon extending from its prow. Xenos' blood turns to ice. He knows that weapon, a doomsday device capable of scouring a planet of life. The Rizians mean to end the war in one stroke, no matter the cost. The dreadnought's weapon begins to charge, a nimbus of deadly energy swelling at its tip. Earth's ships converge on the dreadnought in a desperate bid to stop it, but the behemoth shrugs off their fire, its shields holding. Xenos stares at the looming catastrophe, realization dawning like a cold sun. There's only one way to stop this, to save both races from annihilation. He wrenches the shuttle's controls, aiming the tiny craft at the dreadnought's exposed reactor housing. The shuttle's engines scream as Xenos pushes them past the red line, hurtling towards his target. The humans see Xenos' intention. For a moment their fire slackens as they watch the shuttle arrow in. Xenos closes his eyes in the final seconds, making peace with his choice. He knows it's the only way. The shuttle slams into the dreadnought's reactor. For an instant, nothing happens, and then the reactor detonates, a miniature sun erupting into being. The dreadnought vanishes in an expanding fireball, the doomsday weapon's charge dissipating harmlessly into space. Xenos is vaporized instantly, his sacrifice tearing a hole in the dreadnought's defenses. Secondary explosions rip through the stricken Rizian ship, tearing it apart from within. On Earth and in the fleets, humans stare in shock as the dreadnought breaks apart, the terrible threat vanishing in a fading wave of radiation and debris. Xenos is gone, but his final act has given humanity a chance, however slim, to survive. The battle rages on, the future still balanced on a knife's edge. The fireball of the Rizian dreadnought's destruction expands, briefly outshining the stars. On the bridge of the human flagship, the crew erupts into cheers as the debris cloud dissipates, revealing the shattered remnants of the Rizian fleet. But the celebration is short-lived. The Rizian admiral, his face contorted with rage and desperation, barks orders to his remaining ships. "All units, fall back. Regroup at the designated coordinates." The Rizian ships peel away, their engines flaring as they flee the battlefield. Earth's forces surge forward, pouncing on the opportunity. Weapons blaze, missiles streak through the void, slamming into the retreating Rizian vessels. Hulls buckle and burst under the onslaught, adding to the expanding field of wreckage. On Earth's surface, the scars of battle are painfully evident. Cities lie in ruins, once proud skyscrapers reduced to skeletal frames. Smoke billows from countless fires, darkening the skies. In the streets, rescue teams dig through the rubble, the grim task of recovering the dead and wounded only just beginning. The toll is staggering, the losses unprecedented. Amidst the chaos, a grim-faced officer delivers the news to the Defense Council. Captain Mike Johnson is among the fallen, his ship destroyed in a valiant charge against the Rizian line. In the council chambers, the mood is somber. The weight of the sacrifice is heavy on every heart. But there is also a steely resolve, a determination that the lives lost will not be in vain. "We rebuild," the council leader declares, his voice raw with emotion. "We rebuild and we remember. We will never forget what happened here today." Across Earth, the truth about humanity's origins spreads like wildfire. The revelation of the Rizians' genetic tampering, once a closely guarded secret, now becomes common knowledge. Shock turns to anger, anger to resolve. Humanity stands united as never before. From the hidden colonies, ships arrive, bringing advanced technology and much-needed resources. The rebuilding begins, the pace accelerated by the influx of new knowledge and materials. Earth's shattered cities rise again, stronger and more advanced than before. But even as Earth recovers, its leaders know that the galaxy has changed. The Rizian attack has stripped away any illusions of safety, any notion that humanity can remain isolated and alone. "We must expand," the council leader announces to a global audience. "We must grow stronger, not just to defend ourselves, but to take our rightful place among the stars. Never again will we be at the mercy of another power." A new age dawns, an era of rapid expansion and technological advancement. Humanity reaches out to the stars, driven by the knowledge that only through strength can survival be assured. But light years away on the Rizian homeworld, a different scene unfolds. A massive crowd gathers, their chants and cries rising to a deafening roar. On a raised platform, a new leader emerges, his eyes blazing with rage. "Xanax! Xanax!" the crowd thunders, their voices shaking the very air. Xanax holds up a hand and the crowd falls silent. When he speaks, his voice is a snarl of barely contained fury. "The humans have dealt us a grievous blow," he says, every word dripping with venom. "Our fleets lie in ruins, our power shattered. Thousands of our brothers and sisters have perished at their hands." The crowd roars in anger, their cries echoing in the night. "But this is not the end," Xanax continues, his voice rising. "This is only the beginning. The humans think they have won, but they do not know the true depths of our power." He leans forward, his eyes glittering with malice. "The genetic tampering was only the first step. We will not rest until the humans are crushed beneath our heel, until they are nothing more than slaves to the Rizian race. This I swear." The crowd erupts into a frenzy, their screams of approval rising to the heavens. Zanuck stands amidst the chaos, his face a mask of cold determination. The scene fades to black, the echoes of the crowd's cries lingering in the darkness. The war may be over, but the struggle for survival has only just begun. In the depths of space, a new conflict brews, one that will shake the very foundations of the galaxy. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.